Hello, everybody. This is Cousin Russ, and I have with me today my cousin and friend, dear Myrtle.
Partner in crime is more like it.
And that's a good thing because we accomplish a lot.
I know. Can you do the camera controls?
Well, I was going to let it ride, but let me give it a try. Oops,
Oh, okay.
that's the wrong app. Sorry about that.
Well, while you're loading the app, today during Mondays with Mert, we had something come up, and that was that one of our attendees, Kathy, was having trouble using Family Tree Maker and putting that database in Dropbox. So you had a solution, and I want to know what that solution is.
Sure. First of all, let me explain why I said what I said about Dropbox and Family Tree Maker, and I and I took
There
care
you
of the
go.
camera thing.
Hmm.
I can't invite you yet. Anyhow, the issue is with Family Tree Maker is first of all, why do we use Dropbox? And I do use Dropbox. I use Dropbox specifically with Roots Magic
Hmm.
for the same purposes that we all use it. And for
Which
Family
is to
Tree,
have a synchronized copy of the file in the cloud so that if your computer dies with your Roots Magic database on it, you're not having to type all that in again.
absolutely, that's
Hmm.
exactly correct. And here is the difference. With Family Tree Maker, my backup is my Ancestry member tree.
Your sync, your
My
sync.
sync, the sync feature with Family Tree Maker 2014 and
Hmm.
the Ancestry member tree.
Hmm.
What was new about, and this is why I changed to this specific mode,
Hmm.
is that Ancestry member tree is a backup for what is on my computer. It did not used to be that way.
Mm.
All of the things that I have hidden, like notes and stuff like that, which can't be seen in the Ancestry member tree, they are there, but we cannot see them. So all the magic that is in my file in Family Tree Maker 2014 is backed up on my Ancestry member tree. Now, I have actually tested this when 2014 came out. I did
Hmm.
a recovery of a file that was in my Ancestry member tree. All my task list, my citations, my images, all of them came down, and I was able to resume my sync process with that backed up that was then restored in 2014. So my backup is in the cloud.
Okay, let
Now,
me ask, let
sure.
me restate this. Normally, when we think of backup and restore, we're thinking of it as a technical term, backing up like onto Mosey. It compresses the file, so you can't really look at it or use it like you can over in Dropbox. And then you have to restore it from Mosey to the new computer. But what you're telling me, let me get this straight, because this is actually pretty exciting if it actually works. And you said it did. You have your Family Tree Maker 2014. You sync to a specific Ancestry member tree. This computer dies. Now, there are a lot of fields on your computer, like your task list, that there's no space for it to show up on an Ancestry member tree, even though you're the owner of it. You can't
Yes,
see the task list.
that's correct.
But when you bring a new computer in, now that you've bought a new computer because your old one died, you load it with Family Tree Maker and you tell it to sync to that file.
Download
Um,
and sync. Yes.
okay, and so it downloads it, but it didn't need to restore it because it was never compressed. You could still go to Ancestry's cloud,
Yes.
ancestry.com, go to your tree, and you could still see it. As far as it's like they had a skin over it, isn't it? And you could only see certain little fields, but not all of them. Is that
That's
right?
that is correct. All that hidden stuff in 2014 was the first time they did that. Although we've had this tree sync feature,
Mm-hmm.
that was not available to us when 2014 came. To the Ancestry member tree is a backup. So that's one reason. Now,
Mhm.
Kathy's specific question was, and this is why I wanted to get into this conversation, Dropbox being one of them,
Mhm.
but the specific issue that, like, you put it in Dropbox so you can work it on your desktop and your laptop
Mhm.
or your mobile device.
Mhm.
Now, I can do the same thing, but it's different and I don't need Dropbox. I access that tree that's on 2014 on my desktop. I access and can edit it in the Ancestry member tree. So I can work on my file in the Ancestry member tree, whether it's on an iDevice or a mobile device
Mhm.
or another computer like my laptop. I can go out
Mhm.
in my outside office and work on my tree on my laptop, but I'm going to do that in the Ancestry member tree. When I get back to my office in 2014 on my desktop, I can then resync it, and I've got all the work that I did in the cloud.
Got a
I,
question.
yep.
Let's say that you are in a rush to go teach your class. I know you
Hmm.
teach several classes. You leave your desktop computer on and Family Tree Maker is still on. Is this a problem?
It is not, and I have done that.
Okay. But if it was in Dropbox,
There might, if the file was in Dropbox, I may have a problem when I got home. I don't do it. That's only me. I haven't tried it, which is,
yes, I have.
yeah.
And
So,
so it's probably the same way that it is for Roots Magic. If I try to open a file in Dropbox with the second computer, it'll let me open it, but it'll want me to save it as parentheses conflicted copy.
right,
That's what I'm noticing.
got,
And I think that's what Kathy was noticing. And you're telling her forget Dropbox period. I mean, she might put
oh,
her
only
photos there
only for Family Tree Maker 2004. Don't forget Dropbox. It's an excellent tool. But
for everything else.
for
PowerPoint.
2014, absolutely. For 2014, you don't use Dropbox. Use the Ancestry member tree. You
Mm,
can make it private, whatever you want to do with the tree that's
mm,
online.
got
But
it.
but I and I want to work on that when I'm in my laptop. I want to
Hmm.
work on that same tree. I get access the tree from the Ancestry member tree when I get back. Now, when I get back, I'm going to have some cleanup, but I talk about cleanup of what I do with anything that
Yeah,
I
I see it when it
merge.
has the two arrows, one going this
Yep,
way, one
yep,
going that way, and it's basically saying, "We got more up here in the cloud. Do you want to bring it down here,
yep,
baby?"
yep.
I got it.
And I get a report when I do that sync feature. I get a report and I look at that report so I know what changed and
Hmm.
who changed it. For an example, if I shared that tree with someone else and they made a change,
Hmm.
I will see the who made that change. It'll give me the ID of the person who
Hmm.
made the change in that tree. So that's why
Cool.
I don't use. I will just say one more thing. You mentioned that I do teaching, and that is absolutely true. And I do use Dropbox for that, but it's only for a tree that I have that I use for teaching purposes. So it's on
Hmm.
my desktop. It will never be online because it's of people in my class. It will never be online.
Hmm. It's
And
a
I think,
teaching tool. I get
yeah,
that
yeah.
part.
So use Dropbox. I do use for that one file, um,
And your
but
PowerPoint's in there. I know that your Find a Grave lecture that you do is there.
yep,
And the ones, and we have a Dropbox folder that we
yep,
share where there's some PowerPoints and Word documents,
yep,
images. It's kind
yep.
of getting big. We might have to go through and clean it up. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for explaining that in more detail.
Yeah.
And we need to let Kathy know back in the community your thoughts on, let's just take advantage of those the sync feature that's built into 2014 Family Tree Maker that does in fact put everything on the ancestry member tree,
Yep.
even though they put a skin over it. We can only see birth, marriage, death, and a few things like that,
Yep.
not all the other things like your task list.
That's
Got it.
correct. Yep. Well,
Okay.
thank you very much, and I like your closing. So if you would close our
I love it.
conversation out.
Yes, this is on behalf of Cousin Russ. I'm Dear Myrtle. Happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.